Hello, good morning and welcome back to the channel. So today is a massive day for Ruby. Yesterday I travelled 3.5 hours to get Ruby's big upgrade. So what is her big upgrade? Some of you may have guessed already, but I've travelled all the way down to A&E Leisure, up near Northwick, I believe, and I stayed in their yard last night. Because Ruby's in this morning first thing at 8 o'clock to get up on them ramps and get the full VB air suspension fitted. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the fitting, some of the kit that they use, also my experience afterwards, and I've got about 3.5–4 hour drive home, so I should be able to really see if this air suspension has made a massive difference. Now, the main reason we bought this air suspension is to be able to lift the chassis. Everything else that comes with that, comfort, you can level it, so I have opted for the leveling system. And I know it's never going to be as good as a proper leveling system with rams. However, the option's there, so I'm going to take it. But I felt that we needed this before anything else, and that's just to give us that space underneath the cab to lift it up. Let's see how much it lifts up. Also, yeah, for the comfort of the ride. I'm going to have my brew now because it's early. I've made a brew. I am plugged in here, so when it is a bit more daylight, I will show you where you'll stop if you stayed over at A&E Leisure. They've got a socket outside that you can use. Yeah, so the electric's on. They've got water as well, so if you need water before the yard shuts, you can get water, because after that it's locked away. But yeah, it's a great little stopover. The guys seem friendly enough as it is, and yeah, I'm excited to get the day going. So it is a little bit dark. It's 7:30, so I'm not going to show you the yard as such, but it's quite empty. A few work vans dotted around. That is where I've parked for the night. You've got a river, I think, running past there. As you can see in the dark, hopefully the electric's plugged in. I've had my screen cover on last night. It was chilly. Yeah, just tucked away here. So I think this is the shutter it's going in. I'm going to take the screen cover off now. Luckily it didn't rain, so it's dry. All the van is admined, it's tidied up. I've got my bags ready. The screen cover's off and it's all cleaned up, ready to go in. Now it's just waiting on the staff. So I'm a little bit early. Let's see, what's the time now? So we've got 20 minutes until I believe they start work. So they get here around 8 o'clock. Some people are tipping up already. And they start arriving probably just after 7, I would say. So if you do stay here, then do expect the employees to be coming into work. Starting to get light outside now, which is good. And they're moving all the wagons out. So if your vans do stay here, as you can see there, they do lock them all away at night. I was the only van out because obviously I was sleeping in it. But yeah, they've got security cameras and that anyway, so it's pretty secure. There's one of the workshops. They've got all this here. They're starting to pull all the vans out they're working on for the day. And just over here, you've got a river running through. Now I'm not sure what name this river is. Looks a bit murky to me. But I think there's some sort of canal bridge down here or something. So this is the workshop. And they're the lifters. So it looks like they're mobile ones, which is good because you can get the right place for the wheels. But this is where the work is going to happen. Well, there she goes. Perfect fit. The guys are pretty used to this, to be honest. And this is where she's going to be staying for the next 2.5 days. As you can see, it's now up on the ramps. So while it's on the ramps, I'm going to have a quick look underneath. It actually looks pretty clean, to be honest. But you can see where I changed the water outlet there. And you can see where I knocked it on the tank just there. But no leaks, all good. It's nice to see it cleaned up on the ramps like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the kit that's going to be fitted over the next couple of days, and just show you what actually fits to my vehicle. Just remember that if you've got a different type of vehicle, there might be some different attachments that you'll need. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm with Nathan, and your main role here, Nathan, is
sales of the VB and E&P kits.
Wow. Right, so that's who I've been dealing with and talking to all this time to get this done. So Nathan's just going to run through some of the kit so you can see actually why the cost is what it is. So what have we got here first, Nathan?
So we've got the main struts, which replace your coils and struts in the front, so your original Fiat ones.
Yeah,
will
and
be
that's
replaced with
this bit here then, yeah?
And this one for the offside.
Right.
You've also got your compressor here, which will then obviously fill the air for the tank, which is boxed up there.
Yeah.
So this is the main compressor unit for the system.
Excellent stuff.
Which will be fitted underneath the van.
Right. How low does that sit then, or does it just tuck up?
It will tuck up into one of the areas, so it'll sit no lower than any tank or anything like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so moving off into the centre of the vehicle then. So you've got a couple of bits here.
So they're the new shock absorbers that will replace your old shock absorbers.
Okay, onto the rear.
Yeah, onto the rear, which will be up here.
That there is what's going to get replaced.
And then moving further back, we've got your new swing arms, which will replace this section here.
Right,
along with the brackets for the bags as well.
Yeah, that's the swing arm then. And where does that sit? Just in here?
This will be this new section here, yeah.
Right.
So that'll all be replaced.
So with that then, because I was kind of thinking with the weight of the new kit, it is pretty much replacing...
Like for like, yeah.
Like for like, near enough.
It varies on different vans, but
yeah.
On the Alco one, you're pretty much replacing like for like.
Right, okay.
You've got your new bags, which will sit on the bracket, which is just there.
Yeah.
And that'll take most of the strain on the air suspension.
Yeah.
Then you've got a couple of torsion bars, which will replace the 3 that you've already got in there. And that's just to add extra stability. And
obviously the same on the other side.
Yeah, same on the offside, yeah.
That's all the kit, or majority of kit all laid out. And obviously there is some other little bits and bobs that go with that, fixing brackets and stuff like that. And on my system, we're having the leveling system fitted.
The auto level, that's correct.
Auto level. And then we're having the emergency valves, I believe they are.
That's correct, yeah. So I've got them all on the table over
let's
there.
go and have a look at them.
Your emergency valves, so that's for if any reason the compressor fails,
yeah.
And you've still got the ability to pump up manually, which is just a standard pump.
Just like a bike pump,
that's correct,
I suppose, yeah.
Then you've got your auto leveling here. In this back here, which will allow you to auto level within the system itself.
Cool, and it's just a little gadget like that.
That's correct, yeah.
I suppose in a way it's just like the bubble I have in the van, but this will do it automatically now, so I'm happy with that.
Then I've got the height sensors out for you, so that allow you to determine where the height goes in different modes.
Okay.
And that's what it'll all be set on in the system. And
so with that then, with the height sensors, how high or how much of an offset can you do for leveling?
It does vary on the different vans.
Yeah.
I'd say it's more than 3%, but it does vary on different vans as well. Yeah.
Well, that ain't too bad.
You get a fair stroking van as well, depending on what van. It can be anything from up to 16.
Yeah. I suppose it depends on the length of the van as well. The longer the van, you're going to get a better tilt. So that's ideal. Like I said before, that the reason I've gone for this type of system is because I want to be able to lift the chassis, not necessarily on the leveling. That's just an extra option that we might as well have if we're having the system, and it may be a full leveling system later on. We'll see on that one. So now we've gone through all the kit, I'm going to leave the guys just to start, doing their bits and bobs that they need to do. I don't want to get in the way too much. Plus, I'm sure he wants his music on over there, which we can't have because of the copyright scenario. But yeah, thanks again, Nathan, and we'll see you again later. And you'll probably be explaining how it all works to me anyway. Just quickly before we get back into the workshop and see how the system's getting on, I just want to point out about A&E Leisure. Now, A&E Leisure do a lot of other stuff than the air suspension alone. They do the self-leveling system. If you want aircon fitted, solar panels fitted, they've even got a body workshop. but they mainly do all the awnings. So I'm in their showroom type part now, and this is where all the awnings are, and lots of accessories. So they have got a shop here as well, you know, if you need all your accessories. So yeah, it's a great company to come to. It's quite big and pretty much like a one-stop shop. I'm here now with Aaron, and Aaron's been undertaking the work, and you're going to be doing the complete changeover to the air suspension for me. So far we've stripped down all the rear, but Aaron is in a better place to actually explain what we've done.
Yeah, so basically what I've done, obviously wheels off, we've then taken discs, brake cable, calipers, ABS sensors, and brake cable. It's all come off, and then once we're down to the swing arm, that's all come off, and torsion bars out of the middle here to be replaced. That's pretty much everything. Obviously the bracket will then fit here, with your airbag will sit somewhere here roughly. And then obviously new shock, new swing arms, and a couple of other little bits that go on that, but there's not massively much to it.
Yeah, so basically with all this, if we're looking at it, then is basically all the old kits come off. You pretty much keep the brake calipers, the handbrake cable, everything else pretty much gets replaced.
Yeah, swapped out, yeah.
With all that kit down there. Today we're looking at concentrating on the rear, aren't we?
Yes, hopefully this will be pretty much boxed off today. And then
excellent.
It'll be tomorrow.
And tomorrow the front. I'll let you crack on, but thanks for that. Yeah. And so far, you're doing a great job. We're getting to a stage now where the torsion bars are in, and we're going to lock them in place. Now, you were saying the only way to lock them in place is this one pin.
Pretty much that's all that holds your torsion bars where they need to be.
What happens if that pin falls out?
Hope your wheel doesn't fall off.
So with all this bit of kit, you know, it is just one pin. And it's probably actually quite common in a lot of stuff that, you know, you get pins that hold certain things together, and the torsion bars being the big rods that have gone through to the centre of the van, and then you're going to put that pin in. So let's see if it fits in. Basically, it's going up through that hole. I suppose it's just done off experience, a bit of feel.
Yeah. Like I say, you get sort of used to how they should go in.
Yeah.
And they should give you a bit of resistance. If they don't, something normally isn't quite lined up.
How did that feel?
The pin went in a bit, a bit of resistance. Pretty much the only way we've been told to test them properly is just by hitting it. See how the pins are staying?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Means it's located in the right place.
There we go. So another job successfully done. So where are we at now for today?
We're pretty much ready to start building. I've got a bracket to go on the bottom of here now for your airbag, and then pretty much a bit of wiring. That's all plug and play kit, and then pretty much building the wheel back up.
I think on this one then, that's pretty much what we're going to see tonight. So when we come back in the morning, will we be able to see this, or would the wheel be in the way? I suppose we can see behind the wheel.
You'll be able to see behind the wheel. I mean, I can leave it off for you if you want. The wheel.
Yeah, it's only a one wheel, isn't it?
It's only one wheel. I'll build one side and I'll leave one side off.
We'll leave one wheel off, so then we can show you exactly in the morning.
Everything where it should be.
Everything where it should be, and the other side with the wheel on. And then we'll be starting the front, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Struts, compressor, tank, and then a bit of wiring inside.
There you go. So yeah, day's work nearly complete. For me anyway. I'm going to leave you to it for a little bit. Yeah, I'll leave you to it. But yeah, we'll catch you in the morning, bright and early. Good morning, everyone. I'm now back here at A&E Leisure for day 2 of the full air suspension build. So we're going to go next door. I think he's put the tank on now, or the air compressor tank. We're going to take a look at the rear wheel and yeah, see the progress being made. Well, what have we done?
So we've got the new swing arms on, new torsion bars obviously have got in behind there, new shock absorbers have gone on, and then your bag caliper, bag bracket, and everything is here. Obviously, it's all connected to your swing arm. So as your swing arm moves, your bag reads the pressure and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all run off the little height sensor that I've put in here. So this rod.
So if I can get a torch on that. Right, so that rod there.
That is basically what's going to run your whole system.
It is amazing when you sort of break it down to the little bits that actually keep it running. And it's nice to see the bag on it this morning.
Yeah, the bag's on the other side. All I've got to do in here now is put the calibration support in once the wheel's on. And then it's ready for pretty much programming the back end there now.
Well, excellent stuff. So we're going to let you get the wheel on.
Yeah.
So I don't hinder you anymore. And then, yeah, we'll watch you do some other bits later on.
Yeah, front struts today.
Just come back in the workshop just to see how Aaron's getting on. And it looks like a lot of the cables to the rear, I think, have gone in, or at least to the compressor, which is now fitted. And you can see Aaron feeding some wires through there. But pretty much that is the compressor. So it don't sit no lower than anything else, no lower than any of the other tanks. And what Aaron's telling me is this bit here is the brains. So that's the little computer bit that tells everything what to do, and the compressor is sitting behind it. You see a few valves there with wires and stuff coming off.
This is just literally bolted up to your fuel tank bracket at the top. They utilise the bolts up there.
Yeah.
And it just literally tucks up nicely.
Tucks up and fits up there. Well, that's great. But I will have a look at the dash. So it's a little bit dark, but you can just see there all the glove compartment now have been taken out. And to get in there, pretty much needs access, or that gives him access to the front struts when he does that side. The other side can be a little bit more of taking the dashboard off, because that's where the fuse box sits. And there's access to the battery just down there. So yeah, you do have a bit taken off the dash. It's all looking good so far. And once the compressor's in, and we start seeing the front struts and airbags going onto that, I suppose. It looks like they got a little tractor there to move the caravans around. That's ideal really, isn't it? Because they've got quite a few caravans over there, a couple of motorhomes. Looks like a few had air conditioning put on at some point, maybe recently. While we're here for the day, I don't want to keep disturbing Aaron there. So let's just have a little look at the canal. I think if we go down that way of the canal, that's where it took, well, that's where I'm staying in the Premier Inn for 2 nights. It's a bit muddy down there, so I'm not going to go all the way down. Probably sink in that. I don't know, might be able to. Definitely sink in mud. So I'm not going in that. I think he's working on the front struts now. The air compressor's in, the rear bags are in. Once he's done the front, then he can get all the bags in. I will show you that once that's all done. What he might be doing now actually is putting the emergency valves that I'm getting as an extra, just in case the compressor fouls for any reason, then I can let air in and out. So it's always a good idea to just have some safety features on there. Just popped in again and see Aaron, and he's taking off the strut. Looks like it's a stubborn one.
They're all about the same.
Yeah, well, they're all stubborn. Yeah. Okay, so that just attaches basically to that arm there.
Yeah, it's pretty much that just sits inside this collar here, and then there's a bolt that sort of goes through all 3 of them.
And you just replace that strut with
that one, yeah.
With that one there, and that's the one with the airbag. So as you can see, it takes 2 to get the strut out there. So Aaron, I take it you're undoing a bolt up the top there then?
Yeah, we've got 3 bolts up here that hold the
okay.
strut in.
So 3 bolts and that release the strut. There we go, just like that. Okay, and then you're using that just to keep that in place for now. Well, that's the new one going in then, nice and simple. As I was explained, the airbag's not compressed. Well, it's already, well, you haven't got to compress it basically. That should just fit straight in. The sensor just goes on the back end of that then, does it?
Yeah, that sits on the back of there.
Yeah.
Which I bolt. Sorry.
That's right.
I bolt that through there. That just clips over the top of that.
Okay, and that just gives it its gauge of where it goes.
Yeah, and then there's a smaller plate that sits here. That obviously the rod attaches to there.
Yeah.
And that is everything that's going to give this its height and where that needs to be at.
Well, there you go. So that's now replaced, and we'll let Aaron crack on again. Don't like to get in his way too much. Actually, there's one thing I wanted to point out about the workmanship here. And if you don't mind, Aaron, I'm just going to go to the rear and just show them the bolts. Just a simple thing like that is under here, you'll see the bolts now fitted, and I will have to put my torch on that. But every bolt that's been fitted has got a little mark on it, just so Aaron knows that one, he has tightened it up, and two, it's in the right position and stayed there. So for me, it's just little touches like that that you know you're getting a good quality job. We're all in now then, and that's all fixed in and fitted. But is that in its true position now then?
Yes, so that's all ready to go. The only thing I've got to do when it's at ride height is torque the bolt that holds that in and the bolt that holds bottom up.
Right.
But you can't do that until later on.
Wow, it's looking good though. Solid. So what's all these markings here then?
So that was obviously it's just Alco BB branding.
Oh right, okay, and just like serial numbers.
Yeah,
we're getting there finally. Your work has been coming along nicely, to be honest. It's could tell you're used to what you're doing. That's for sure.
Well, your height sensor on the back of there, then wired in.
Nice.
And then obviously your rod there that does all your.
And that's just down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all looking good. So, I'll leave you to do the other side. We've finally made it to day 3 of the build for the air suspension. So this is the day it gets completed. And as you can see, I'm still in the Premier Inn. I'm just waiting for my taxi down. So this is where I stayed for the last 2 nights. Yeah, so I'm excited today. We're going to do a bit of a test drive and show you how the kit works, basically. So fingers crossed, it's all gone to plan, and we will be hitting the road again today. So now let's get this cab and get down there. And there's Aaron now taking it on his test drive just to make sure all the functions are working. And we're going over the first bump. It looks smooth. They just have to do a test drive just over a few bumps and stuff. We are going to take it on a little test drive where I'm driving, but he just needs to make sure that all the functions are working and stuff like that. So far, I think it's all looking good. Now Aaron's done the test drive for himself. He says everything's running quite smoothly now, so we're going to take it out for a bigger test drive with me driving it. Aaron is in the vehicle with me, and yeah, let's go and see how this actually feels now it's got the air suspension on. Straight away, I'm already feeling the difference. It is like I'm floating on air as such. And as Aaron was saying there, is sometimes you'll hear the compressor kick in, even while you're driving the van. But it ain't that bad, to be honest. It ain't loud over the engine noise anyway. It just feels like a really smooth ride. But what I didn't realise with this is it's always compensating to try and keep you as level as possible. It will recognise you're going up hills and stuff like that. But yeah, so far it's a nice smooth ride. It does feel different, but not in a bad way. We just stopped at some lights there, and you could hear a little bit of the creaking, the compressor come on, and it actually was levelling me out while I was sat at the traffic lights, which is a surreal experience. But yeah, it straightens you up. The drive so far is really smooth. Yes, you're gonna know you've hit a pothole, but I have tried it on quite a big pothole, to be fair, and it did test it. It don't give the big rattle that I was experiencing with the springs at the front the old way. It's now a lot more of a smoother transition over the hull, shall we say. Yeah, so far I'm liking the system. The real test will be when we're doing the 3.5 hour trip back home, and I'll let you know my thoughts on the actual ride after that. I'm back from the test drive now and absolutely made a massive difference. They've just leveled the van for me, but Nathan's here and he's going to go through the handover now, so I know exactly how to use the system and all the different features, and we're trying to show you guys.
Okay, so at the moment it's in auto leveling, so as you can see it's auto leveled on the slope.
Yeah.
Auto leveling is the only function you use without the ignition on.
Okay.
And the key in.
So pretty much when you get to site or wherever you're going to park up for the night, turn the ignition off and level it.
And then you can go into auto level, Got the remote here, so when to go into the modes, just put your ignition on. So at the moment you can see that it's flashed up with that button there, which is the auto leveling.
Okay.
So just put the ignition on. To go out of any mode, so to come out of the auto leveling mode now, all you need to do is click it, and that will now be going into its natural ride height.
Okay, yeah.
So you'll be able to see it's adjusting itself at the moment.
It's starting to come down. You can hear the creak. The chassis, actually that's lifting. Very good. So you can hear the creaking sound there. That's the chassis and the bits all moving around, I think. Am I right?
That's right, It's just moving on its axle,
Yeah.
So then you've got all different functions here. I'll just wait for this to go back into its natural ride height.
Yeah.
So the main functions you will use for when you're going away, going abroad, is you've got your ferry mode there, which I'll go into a second once it's up to its ride height. So the ferry mode, just click into that. It's now going to ferry mode. So what it'll do is it'll drop the front and raise the back.
Okay.
Once it stops flashing, that means it's sat in its mode.
Right.
So that's now sat in ferry mode. So it'll dump the front and lifted the back up.
Right, let's check that out. Just quickly, while we're at this, we'll look at that. So, as you can see there, there's a lot more clearance now under the rear, and the actual taper of the motorhome is going down to the front, where it's lowered the front.
So all you do to come out of any mode, as I said, is just double click it, and that will always put it back into its natural ride height.
Okay.
The noise you can hear is the compressor, so obviously when you're going into different modes, it's using a lot of the air out of the tank, so it'll just be the compressor filling itself back up.
Okay.
The next mode is the off-road mode, so if you're going on bumpy terrain or anything like that. And then you've got your parking mode, which you may not use so much in this van, because you won't really risk it on the lower vans.
Yeah, and that's just to lower it as low as possible.
That'll dump all the air out.
Yeah.
Then you've got your wastewater, so it'll tip your wastewater either which side, depending on which side it's on. Then you've got this button here, which will allow you to, if you wanted to just do the front, you could do that yourself, or the back, vice versa.
Yeah.
And then this last one here is the service mode. So if you're ever getting like the van on the ramps for a service or anything like that, we would always advise to lock that, so it locks the suspension so it doesn't move or adjust the height sensors basically.
Right, okay.
And that's mainly about it.
Wow. So it's quite a simple function.
Yeah.
Can we test the water mode, so the drainage of the water?
And
it's just literally push the button and it starts the motion.
So as you can see, it's now tipping it to this side.
Yeah, and you can maybe just catch that there. It's coming right over. And of course, that's going to give better drainage for the fresh and the wastewater to make sure everything's out of tanks, because not everything usually comes out the tanks. So this way, I can guarantee it does.
And I'll just go back into drive mode for you. And then just while we're here, I'll show you this as well. So this is your VBID number. So if you're ever abroad or anything like that and you've got a fault, all you need to do is go to a local VB dealer abroad, and they'll know exactly what kit it is, when it was fitted and where it was fitted, and every component that goes onto it.
Really? That's good.
A great scale of repairers as well.
That's amazing.
So that's about it for the system. The last thing to show you is the emergency valves. So these are your emergency valves here. So for any reason the compressor fails or anything like that, you've still got the ability to pump up the tyres, and it's just a standard air pump.
Okay.
So you've got them labelled there. You've got your rear right, front left.
just cap off, and then you can just pump them up.
That's correct, yeah. And that's about it for the system.
Yeah, lovely. Well, there you have it. So that's pretty much the handover done, and we're all done here now, I think, bar payment.
Yeah, the worst
bar
part.
payment. So first off, I'd like to say thank you to Nathan.
Thank you
to Aaron and basically all the crew here. They've been really accommodating, and they're a good bunch of guys and lasses. But if you ever come to A&E Leisure, just mention, if you've watched this video and you've come because of that, mention Life's for Touring, and I'm sure these guys will look after you the best they can for any of the systems I've mentioned on this video.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nathan.
No,
that's the 3 days come to an end. They pretty much finished quite quickly. They give themselves 2.5 days just to do the upgrade, so they've got that leeway if needed. But yeah, that's all done. So like I say, I've got a 3.5 hour journey now back home, and I will really test out and see what the air suspension's like, but I'm loving the features at the moment. So I'll see you at the other side. Unfortunately, I can't film the drive home because it's just me today, and I can't film and drive, unfortunately, but I will catch you at the yard when it's back in storage, and I will give you an update of how that drive home went. After a 3.5 hour drive, I'm now back in the storage yard, so where Ruby spends her time when she's not in use. And not only have I got Ruby level, let's talk about the drive. Now the drive was actually amazing, really. Loads different on them front sort of shocks. Yeah, the difference is you're just breezing over most things. Don't get me wrong, if you're getting pulled into a hole and out again, then the gravity does make you move and give you a bit of a job, but nothing compared to what it was like before. So that is absolutely transformed the ride. It was a joy to ride, actually, and I personally really enjoyed it. It was just nice cruise all the way home. All the little small holes that you did feel, the little potholes, the little impurities in the road, I didn't feel at all. It was only the bigger potholes, really, and divots that you felt. But even still, it was still just a smooth transition over. You just knew it happened. I'll show you Ruby now because I've leveled her. And she is actually in the storage level, which we've never had. So you can see now the difference. This side has got a massive gap on the wheel arch there. The bottom end is further down. But she is sitting nice and level. And then there's a smaller gap this side. So you can see the difference. And then if you come to this end, that low back corner is actually quite low. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have enjoyed the video and you ain't subscribed, it is free. So please subscribe. But as always, we'd like to say thanks to everyone that has subscribed and supports the channel. And we will catch you on the next one. That's me and Jodie out on our travels. So until then, bye.